Hey everyone, today is Final Cut Pro 12 launch day. For over 14 years, Mark and I have been breaking down every major release, and we're excited to show you the new AI search and beat detection tools. That said, I'm letting you know upfront that our video is longer than most because it's not a fluffy overview. It's a full, in-depth tutorial that we hope will equip you with the knowledge you need to get the most from Final Cut Pro 12, whether you use the standalone version of the app or the one that's included with the Creator Studio bundle.
That's right, Steve, and I really think you guys are going to like what we have to share with you today. By the way, if you're new to us and Ripple Training, welcome. Please check out our tutorial and plugin products at rippletraining.com. Now, I'm going to be doing a pretty deep dive on transcription search, say that 10 times fast, and visual search. But we're going to start things off with Steve telling you all about the very cool new beat detection feature. So take it away, Steve.
In order to show you how this feature works, I'll demonstrate on 3 different music clips. I've chosen these particular clips because of their stylistic differences, so that you can see how the algorithm handles different time signatures, instrumentation, and song structures. To enable beat detection, right-click on the clip and choose it from the menu, or use the keyboard shortcut, Option B. You'll also find this command in the Enhancements menu. Once enabled, the clip is analyzed for bars and beats, and a grid appears over the clip. As you zoom in, you'll be able to see more grid detail. The thin solid lines are the start of each measure, or the downbeat, and the dashed lines are the beats. This song has 4 beats per measure, counting from the downbeat. For you musicians out there, this song was recorded in a 4/4 time signature. Skimming over the clip snaps the playhead to the beat grid, and a green flag at the top of the skimmer tells you if you're parked on the downbeat or another beat. These flags will come in handy later when I show you how to cut a song to picture. Some downbeat flags include a plus next to the music note to indicate a transition point in the song, such as an intro, a chorus, or a bridge. These transition flags will help you choose what sections of the song to cut out so that the song edit sounds seamless. When you zoom out, the grid lines that are flagged as transition points appear more prominent than the other grid lines. By pressing the B key, you can bring up the blade tool. Then, as you skim across the clip, the tool will snap into alignment with the transition points. From here, it's simply a matter of choosing what part of the song you want to cut out. I'll make a cut here at this first transition point, and another one here. I'll return to the selection tool, then remove the middle section of the song. Let's play over the edit point to hear how it sounds. The song is still a bit too long, so I'll cut out this last section and play it back to hear the change. Let's see how beat detect works on a song with a different time signature. Here, I've added a classic holiday waltz in 3/3 time. I'll press Option B to analyze for bars and beats and reveal the grid. Playing back the song, you can see there are 3 beats per bar, and I've added some on-screen visuals to show the count. As before, we only need to cut at the transition point to edit the song. Let me show you another tool you can use to make the editing process even faster. Press R to call up the Range tool, then drag across the clip to select the part of the song you want to remove. Snapping ensures that your selection is frame accurate to the beat. I'll press the Delete key and play that back. Because of the varying dynamics of a song, the edit points, even though accurate to the bars and beats, may still sound abrupt when played back. An easy way to deal with this is to apply a crossfade. Select the clips on both sides of the edit point, then from the Modify menu choose Adjust Audio Fades, Crossfade. I'll play back again and you'll notice that it sounds smoother. The next clip is an orchestral score. You would never be able to tell just by looking at the audio waveform that this song actually changes tempo over time. However, with beat detection, you can see where these changes occur. After applying it, notice that the spacing between the bars at the beginning of the song are closer together. Then, as the song progresses, they get further apart. I'll play a few bars at the beginning. and a few bars at the end. The beat grid is super useful because it visualizes these faster and slower sections, making it much easier to rearrange the music based on specific emotional beats in the story. For example, perhaps the story I'm telling requires a slower, more reflective music cue at the beginning before the tempo picks up. I'll select these two bars, then press Command-C to copy the range. I'll then move the playhead to the start of the music and zoom in. One of the things you want to watch out for is any silence before the first bar. You'll want to trim this out before you paste the clip. I'll add a crossfade by pressing Option-T and play back. That works, but let's say I want the last chord to play out longer before the faster tempo section comes in. I'll select the clip, then press Command-Option-Up arrow to create a connected audio clip. Then trim out the end of the clip to create more overlap. As I trim, the edit point snaps to the bars and beats of the incoming clip. I'll increase the fade-out duration and play back. There are a couple of other small things I want to call your attention to regarding the beat grid. If you need to hide the grid, you can click this button on the toolbar or press the 0 key. This is a global toggle, meaning that the grid is hidden or revealed for every clip in the timeline you've previously ran beat detection on. If you want to turn off the grid for a particular clip, you'll need to move the playhead over it and press Option-B. The other thing is the grid color. It will always be green regardless of any roll color you've assigned to a clip. Green is the established roll color for music, and it's basically a UI consistency thing. Also, if you choose to make a compound clip from 2 or more music clips, the grid will not appear because Final Cut Pro considers a compound clip a container, not a clip that can be analyzed. If you need to see the grid, you'll need to step into the compound clip and enable the grid by pressing 0. There's a better way to group music clips together, but I'll get to that later. With the mechanics of the tool out of the way, let me show you how I use this tool in the context of an edit to build a music cue that conforms to a specific duration. Here, I have open a short film project that I shot and edited over the holidays about a Christmas-obsessed teenager. The stock music I'm using for the intro is not long enough, and I needed to extend to this second music cue. If you use stock music, you'll run into this issue all the time. I'm going to use Beat Detect to identify a section of the music that would make a good loop point. I'll select the clip and press Option-B. Looking at the beat grid, the algorithm has identified 3 transition points, one at the start of the clip, a second one here, and a third one here. I want to loop everything up to the third transition point. I'll press B to call up the blade tool and make a cut. I'll press A to return to the selection tool, then move the clip out of the way. To loop the first section, I'll select it and press Command-C to copy, then paste it at the end of the first clip. I'll play it back to hear how the edit works. Perfect. Now I need a clean edit of the song's outro, so I'll trim out the start of the clip until the edit point snaps into alignment with the last bar of the song, then move it over so that its edge aligns with the previous clip. I'll play that back. Using Beat Detect, I was able to quickly create a song with a custom duration. Beat detection is also used for aligning the picture to specific beats. I'll select this death metal clip, then press Option-B to analyze the clip and reveal the beat grid. I want to move the metal music earlier in time. As I drag, the beat grid travels with the clip. I'll drag until the start of the metal music aligns with the last bar of the a cappella music. The green music note tells me when I'm right on the beat. Because some music overlaps, it can be confusing which beat grid you're looking at. I'll select the outgoing music clip and press Option-B. It's now much easier to edit the picture to the proper beat grid. I'll press T to call up the trim tool, then perform a rolling trim to have the door clip cut on the first beat of the song. The shot is also too long, so I'll perform a ripple trim on the end of the clip so that it snaps into alignment with the beat grid and playback. As a final step, you can clean up your timeline so that all your music edits are placed into a single group. I'll select these 3 related music clips, then press Command-G to create a group, or what Final Cut Pro calls a secondary storyline. Unlike compound clips, secondary storylines allow you to apply beat detection to individual clips within the group, and you can move the group as a whole as if it were a single clip. Of all the features Apple has given us over the years, this one happens to be my favorite because it will have the biggest impact on my workflow.
In Final Cut Pro 12, by default, your media is now automatically transcribed in English on import, or you can transcribe it afterwards. More on that in a bit. Here, I have a partially edited 20-minute interview project of the owners of a restaurant company talking about the history of their business. I'm starting with an existing project because I suspect this is how many of you will first use this feature. This project includes events for the interview source footage, 2 angles, the multicam clip, lots of B-roll, and projects. Since I'm interested in the transcript search, I'll select the multicam event. In the browser search bar, notice how it now says search text, spoken words, and visual objects. When you click the search button, you'll see 2 new options, transcript and visual. For transcript, you can select either includes or is related to. Let's start with includes. A new talk bubble icon appears in the search bar, and the text says, search for spoken words. Let's say I'm interested in finding quotes about Italy. I'll type Italy. Immediately, I get search results. The red bar on the clips that indicates a rating of rejected is just there because this is already a completed edit, and those are clips I had previously not included and rejected from the edit. These results are automatically sorted by relevance. We can see this explicitly in list mode. I'll press Option-Command-2 to switch to list mode, and let's play a few of these.
In Italy.
In Italy. Do you have any pictures of Italy by any chance of Da Delfina? Locarno was a Roman, focused on Roman cuisine, a very more specific city in Italy. Words. We just wanted to open a trattoria like you would find in Italy, or a bistro like you would find in France.
Naples, Italy.
Naples, Italy, that is, yes.
And Craig took...
You can set in and out points like any other clip and then edit the range into your project. Now, if I right-click a column header and choose Edit Available Columns to open the column set editor and type REL in the search field, we see a new option for relevance. I'll select it. And then I'll choose Make a Copy to duplicate this column set. I'll name it Default with Relevance and click OK. I'll scroll to the right and drag that header to the left. I expect in a future update that this relevance column will automatically be part of the default set. Note that this new relevance column says exact for all these search results. That's because all these clips include the word Italy. Now let's switch to is related to. The talk bubble icon now includes a plus symbol, and the relevance word changes to high and low. Let's listen to a couple of the low confidence clips.
But this was a family-run restaurant in a little hilltop town in Tuscany.
So that one mentions Tuscany, but never mentions Italy specifically. Very cool and very useful.
And at night we got Italian lessons and wine lessons, and on the weekends they would take us to visit cheesemakers and prosciutto makers and wineries, and we'd hunt for white truffles. We really got deep into it.
So that one used the word Italian, but never used Italy.
Just the natural resources, and couldn't wait to come back here and apply what I learned to local products, which were very similar to what we were doing in Italy.
And that one actually mentioned the word Italy, even though the confidence level is low. Of course, you can also search on phrases. Let's go back to includes and search how to make handmade pasta, because I know he mentioned that somewhere and I need a quote about that. We get a result.
It could have been a grandma who taught us how to make handmade pasta, or a Sicilian seafood specialist, or a pastry chef.
Awesome. If you want to create a persistent transcript search result, you can create a smart collection based on it. Let's search for pizza. Now just click the filter button and it populates a new smart collection with your search criteria. Now, instead of saving this just the way it is, let's add to it. Because as a smart collection, not only is this transcript search persistent, you can get much more granular in your search results. Let's add another search for the word oven. And now we get 2 clips where both words are mentioned.
And that's why, to this day, our pizza is made in deck ovens.
Just like any multiple search result, we can choose all or any. Let's leave it as all so we get the intersection of all quotes that include both pizza and oven. Let's save it and name it. And now, because our search result is a smart collection, any new media we transcribe and import into this event will automatically be included in the search result. Now you'll notice I created an event with just the multicam clip. Let's go back to the film script view. I created this separate event because the search includes everything in the event, and I didn't want the search results to include the source angles or any of the B-roll clips. If I move that multicam clip into the interview source event and search, you'll see the original angles get included. So placing just the clips you want to include in an event for search is one way to limit your search results. I'll clear that search. Notice that just selecting the clip and searching doesn't limit our search results to that clip. It's based on the selected event, keyword collection, or smart collection. Another way to limit the search results is to use a keyword. For example, I'll press Command K for the keywords and add the keyword MC to the multicam clip. And then if I select that keyword collection and search, just that multicam clip is included. And another way to limit what clips are included in the search results is to take advantage of the fact that search results don't include hidden clips. When you first create your multicam clip, you can choose to hide the source angles. I'll cancel that. Or if you didn't do that when you created it, you can right or control click on any clip and choose to hide it. And now I can search on this event, and the hidden clips are not included in the search results. Notice that I didn't select the specific transcript this time, so it's actually including all of the options in the search result. But you can see just the multicam clip is included. I'll show those hidden clips and then unhide them. Now, as you can see, these results are range-based. So you don't see the whole clip. If you want to include more of the clip in your edit, you can either trim it after editing it into the timeline, or right or control click on it and choose Reveal Source in Browser. And I'll go back to List View to see the entire clip with the in and out points set for that search result. So while I love this new feature as it makes it so much easier to locate specific sound bites, there are a couple of limitations. First, it's currently English only. I'm sure that'll change in the future. Second, and this is kind of a big one to me, you can't see the transcript. While you can see the transcript of a project, it would be great to be able to see the full transcription of the source clips in the browser and to be able to edit by selecting phrases. Currently, you'll still need a third-party application like Lumberjack Builder, SpeedScriber, or Simon Says to do that. Okay, now let's talk about visual search. With this new feature, you can search for both objects and actions in video clips and images. This feature can dramatically reduce the amount of time you spend keywording your material. When you have an interview project like this one, the ability to quickly locate relevant B-roll is key to speeding up your workflow. I have this B-roll event selected and I am in film script view. Now, as opposed to transcript search, I found the visual search results to be a little more chaotic, which I suppose is to be expected because the AI is dealing with complex moving visual information instead of searching text. I'll click the search button and select visual. and note the icon. And let's start with some objects. I'll try out pasta. And we immediately get search results of pasta, including a magazine cover here. And here, this is actually a mistake. It's shaved cheese that kind of looks like pasta. If we go to list view, Option Command 2, we see that particular clip has a relevance confidence rating of low, which is perfect because it's not pasta and all the other ones are. I'll go back to film strip view. Let's try a few more. I'll try fire. We get some nice results of the pizza oven there. I'll try farm because I know they talk about farming. We get a bunch of clips of the farm and some others that are not a farm right there. Let's check out the relevance. That says that it has a low confidence level, but it's actually pretty accurate. And this one was low, which is good. Should have been low. Back to film strip view. Let's try vegetables. Seems to do a good job there. We don't even need to skim over these to see them. We see vegetables in just about every shot there. Not really in these two right here, but in the rest of them. And again, if I select that, Option Command 2, we can see low confidence. Let's sort by relevance by clicking the header and go in reverse so our high results are at the top and can go through them that way. I really prefer to look at everything in film strip view. And by the way, I've pressed Shift-Z in film strip view so that each of my film strips are a single thumbnail. Let's try food. Lots of results there. How about plated food? Plated food. That says a pretty darn good result. This one's not quite correct, even though it's sort of on a plate, but it does a good job of finding all of the plated food. How about glasses? Well, we get the sunglasses right there. We get some glasses right there. And then it's picking up all of the glasses, drinking glasses in some of these shots as well. How about spectacles? If I just want glasses, that's interesting because it picked up the glasses but not the sunglasses. Let's try sunglasses. And there it picked up both the sunglasses and the regular glasses. In fact, it picked up the glasses right there. It's pretty good, although, and it probably picked up his glasses right there. So when I typed sunglasses, it picked up both regular glasses and sunglasses. So really, you need to sort of think through this and play with a little bit and try different words to find what's going to work for you. For instance, let's do car, and we get a bunch of vehicles. A lot of results there. Some don't really seem to have any car in them at all. 53 different results there. Let's try auto. We only get 3 items for auto. And vehicle, we get 10 different items for vehicle. So this is why you really want to try a couple different words before you just assume there was if we just did car, you'd think there would just be 3, and actually there's multiple that have the word vehicle that include cars that the car result didn't really include. Now, what about text? You really can't search on words. Like we can see the word junk right there in that shot. If I type junk, we don't get anything. If I type Delfina, the name of the restaurant, we don't get anything. If I type text, we do get all clips that have text in them. So it does understand text. And there's one, I don't know why it's including it there. I don't see any text in here. Maybe in the mirror. Nope, nothing there. So it's picking up text, but it can't actually read the text. I suspect that's something that will change in the future, but it's something important to understand. How about article? And there we get all the articles. So if you're searching for a bunch of screenshots of articles, it'll pick that up, which is great. Now, those were some objects. Let's talk a little bit about a type of a shot. For instance, if I type interior, it will give me interior shots. If I type exterior, it will give me exterior shots. So that's super useful. How about a wide shot? Seems pretty good. It's picking up these wide drone shots and it's picking up these exterior shots. It seems to do a pretty good job of understanding that. Medium shot, it can't do. Close up. Close up seems to do as well, although I wouldn't depend on it for everything, but it does understand some close up shots there. Drone works, which is awesome. It picks up all the drone shots that we have. You may have many of these already categorized by the name of your drone, like DJI. Pick this one up, which isn't correct. Let's see if that has a low confidence level. And it does. Instead of drone, let's try just DJI and go back to all text to see the difference. Yeah, it picked up all those drone shots, which is awesome. Let's go back to visual. And let's try construction, because I know there's some shots for construction in here when they first were building up the restaurant, and those pop up right away. So it seems to have some decent idea of the type of shot, not just the objects themselves. Exteriors, wide shots, drone shots, all seem to work well. Now, Apple claims it will search well on action as well. I'm finding for this particular project, there aren't a lot of action shots, but let's try sit. And we get different shots of people sitting or places to sit without people in them at all. If I try sitting, see that was 8 items. With sitting, I get none. And this is important. I'm going to bring this up again. When you're looking for action and you're looking for verbs, often the gerund form, the ing form, will work better, although in this case, that's not the case. Let's try stand. We get nothing. Let's try standing. And we get 3 shots of people standing. So you want to play a little bit with the different options on some of these verb or action words. Let's try another library. I keep a lot of stock photos and videos in a massive library to reach for whenever I need some stock. And you can see it's got a huge number of keywords in here. And it also has, you can see, over 6,700 items. Let's say I just want some clouds. And I get lots of clouds options, including ones that don't really look like clouds. It's interesting. But plenty of cloud shots. This might be useful to go to our list view. And here we have some exact matches, which it does a very good job with. And high doesn't get all those right. Let's go down to low. And the low ones we can see are not exactly what I'm looking for. Let's go back to film strip view. Or let's say I just want abstract, and I get a bunch of abstract animations. Back to visual search, smoke, fire. You get the idea. Can be very useful to apply visual search to a collection of stock footage to find something very quickly. Finally, I want to look at this library for one of our plugin products, Time Warps, because it includes a bunch of action shots. And let's test this out a little bit with visual search. I'll start with a dog, some objects. And sure enough, we get a bunch of dogs. Although there's no dog in that shot and no dog in that shot. Let's try frisbee. And it picks up on the frisbee shots. And a few extra ones, but the person with the frisbee, the dog with the frisbee. Try bicycle. And I get a bicycle shot here, but I also get a bunch of nothing. Nothing there. There's a skateboard shot here, some different skateboard shots. No bicycle in that at all. If you look at our confidence level, there's only a few that are high confidence. And definitely no bicycle in that shot. Definitely a bicycle there. No bicycle in that shot, but maybe it's assuming because it's moving down the street that the person's on a bike. I don't know. Let's just try people, and that's good. All shots of people. Let's try a crowd, and that works great, where we see a bunch of different people. That could be very useful to be able to pull out some crowd shots. And let's try time of day. How about sunset? I found time of day really only works for sunrise or sunset, and it can't really tell the difference between them, but these seem to be clearly a good shot there, and then some maybe shots here for sunset. If we think about locations, let's say underwater. It does a great job of pulling out underwater shots, although this one is not underwater, and this one is on top of the water. So is this and this, but it does grab all the underwater shots. Let's just select this to see Option Command 2 if that's a low confidence level, and it is. So it does a decent job with that. How about island? Seems to pick out some island shots. Waterfall. Definitely get some waterfall shots in there. and a mix of some other water clips that aren't necessarily waterfalls. Okay, action. If I try the word dive, I get 3 clips that seem to involve diving. Okay, but if I change it to diving, we get 8 items. And some are not accurate, like this rafting shot, but we get more results using the gerund form, the ing form. Let's try snorkel. Okay, 4 results. Snorkeling, 5 results. Let's try run. Get nothing. Running, 2 shots with running. So often the ing form is better. Let's try jump. Nothing. Jumping, 4 shots with jumping. Let's try smile. Bunch of shots with people smiling or doing something close to smiling, but just smile. If I say smiling, we get 15 shots. Laugh, 2 shots. Laughing, 8 shots. Skate, nothing. Skating, 9 items. Just like with transcript search, we can make a persistent search result with a smart collection. So I'll type sunset. I'll click the filter button, and I'll add to this one as well. Now, this is a little bit confusing. You might think, well, how do I get another visual term to show up? You actually have to select text, and then with this pop-up menu, select visual. So by selecting text, you're basically selecting the search field, and these are all this different search options that you have up in the search field up here. So I'll add bicycle, and I get all shots that include both sunset and bicycle. I'll save this as a library smart collection because I have my library selected this time, and I can label it bicycle plus sunset shots. And once again, if I import new material into this library, in this case, not just the event, because it's a library smart collection, and I choose to analyze on import, which I'll cover in just a minute, this smart collection will automatically show any clips that include both of these visual search terms. One thing to notice about these search results for visual search that's different than the transcript search is the visual search results will show you the entire clip, as opposed to transcript will just show you the little portion of it that includes the words or similar words that you're searching for. And if you choose all up here, it will include all of these different options in the search results. Okay, that's how you can use transcript search and visual search, but how do you set them up? Well, for media you haven't imported into an existing library, or for a brand new library, it's really simple because you analyze on import. So for instance, here, I'll select B-roll and Command I to import. Let's say I want to import some more B-roll here. In the import window, we have new checkboxes under Analyze Video for visual search and Analyze Audio for transcribe in English. And those are both checked by default. You should double check to see if they are. They are here. And you can, of course, turn these off. So by default, it's going to analyze everything. And that may be what you want, but I want to give you a couple tips about how to work with doing this, because it can take some time if you have a huge amount of footage and you're going to be transcribing all of it and visually searching all of it. And there's a few ways that you can be a little more efficient about that. But you can obviously do it on clips or folders and do them all at once here, or you can just do them on select pieces, or you can import them and do it after the fact. So with an existing library, like what I had here, you can either select an event or a keyword collection or an individual clip and apply the analysis. And the way you do that, for instance, let's get rid of this search term here for my B-roll. You go to the Modify menu, choose Analyze and Fix, and here we have new options to analyze video for visual search and analyze audio for transcribe in English, the same 2 checkboxes you see in the import menu. So you can perform it there. And it's relatively fast, but a couple of ideas to think about. I'll cancel this. For example, with our multicam, we probably don't need visual search for it. I know this is a long interview and it's just 2 people speaking, and I don't necessarily need to search for when one of them is smiling or something, so I might skip visual search. Now, this analysis, both for the transcript and for the visual search, only applies to source clips. For instance, with my multicam clip selected, you see I can't choose Analyze and Fix. It only works on the source clips, Modify, Analyze, and Fix. However, this analysis of either the transcript or the visual search on the source clips will pass through to sync clips and multicam clips. So one thing to consider, if you have a bunch of angles for an interview, I only have 2 here, there's really no reason to do the transcript analysis on every single angle. Just choose the angle with the best audio, choose Modify, Analyze, and Fix, and apply just the transcribe in English to that angle by itself. By eliminating visual search and only transcribing a single angle, you'll save some analysis time. And you'll see I kicked it off there so you can see how long it takes. This interview was about half an hour. And you can see I'm leaving it real time so you can see about how long it takes. And it'll take twice as long as that. I'll stop it right there. The same efficiency idea applies to B-roll. So if you've organized your material that you know you want to visually search a bunch of B-roll, but you don't need to transcribe it, there's a bunch of audio, but it's not interesting audio to you because it's all just B-roll. Well, in that case, Modify, Analyze, and Fix. And this time we can skip the transcribe in English and just do a visual search on the B-roll. And it will do that. Now, it's kicking it off again. And I've already searched all these clips. You can see how fast it works through these clips on the visual search. Although these are short clips, so I don't want to oversell this. If they're longer clips, it's going to take more time. And you noticed what happened is, even though I had already analyzed clips, it's analyzing again. It's not saying, hey, never mind, I know this clip is already analyzed. It doesn't seem to know. So one thing you can do about that is to create a smart collection. So what I'll do is choose File, New, Smart Collection, and I'll call it Not Analyzed. And we have a new option here for Media Analysis. And we can say if that's missing. By default, it says if it's missing. And you can choose just transcript or just visual. So right now, all of this B-roll is showing up in the Smart Collection because I didn't analyze it for a transcript. I just analyze it for visual. So if I just choose visual, everything goes away. By the same token, I could copy this Smart Collection into my interview source and change it to transcript, and everything goes away because here I transcribed both of those angles. So the Smart Collection can be an efficient way to figure out what you've analyzed and what you haven't analyzed. So again, if you skip transcription on additional multicam angles, just do it on one multicam angle, and you skip the visual search on long interview clips, you can save some time on that transcription process if you're applying it to a bunch of existing large libraries.
So of course, the other big news with the introduction of Final Cut Pro 12 is this new Creator Studio subscription bundle that includes Final Cut Pro, Motion, Compressor, Pixelmator, Logic Pro, Main Stage, Freeform, Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. There's 10 applications, many of which are free already anyway, but they're all bundled together in this subscription that's $12.99 a month or $2.99 a month if you are a student or educator, and the first month is free. So the only difference between the subscription version and the current version looks to be the additional content that you get with the subscription version that seems like it would be added to going forward. If you don't want the subscription, you can keep using the Final Cut Pro that you've been using all this time. It has received the same new features that the subscription version has gotten here. The only thing it doesn't have is this new content. Now, I have a couple of thoughts on this. First of all, I don't really think this whole subscription model is meant for people like Steve and myself, and probably most of you watching this video. I mean, if you've been using Final Cut Pro for a while, like we have, you know, I already have all these apps. I've got them all, I use them all, and it's really not compelling to me to start paying a subscription to get some additional titles, transitions, effects, and generators. If you're like me, you've already got a ton of that stuff anyway, either making it yourself or buying plugins, whatever. You've got a lot of that content. So it's not really that interesting to me, and probably for many of you. I want to keep using my existing Final Cut Pro that I have. My second point is, I do think it makes a very compelling proposition for new people considering using Final Cut, because instead of being faced with this $300 one-time purchase price, they can look at it and say, well, I get a free month to try it out. And then if I like it, $12.99 a month, I can use it for a couple of months. I might finish a project and drop off a subscription. And then I might have another project later and pay for another month and do another project. So the barrier to entry for new people has been reduced quite dramatically, and it gets them access to all of these applications and this additional content that may be more interesting to new people who haven't already built up a library of additional content. So I do think it's a compelling case, and I like what Apple's doing because I think it's going to bring more people into the Final Cut Pro ecosystem. My third point, and this is kind of the big one and the big open question, is will Apple maintain feature parity between these standalone purchase version that we're all using today and this new subscription? They're doing it now with Final Cut Pro 12 because the features that we've talked about today are included in both the subscription version and the version that most of us are using here today. So I think they're pointing to the idea that they will continue to keep that feature parity. And the reason I think they will is I think that Apple has learned something based on what happened 15 years ago in the transition from Final Cut Pro 7 to Final Cut Pro X at that time, where they didn't really handle that transition very well, as many of you know about. I think they learned something about that. To me, they're really indicating in this new transition that we have going on that they're making a real concerted effort to take care of their installed base by saying, we're not going to change anything. You can keep doing exactly what you're doing. If you bought Final Cut Pro 10 or Final Cut Pro X back then for $300, you've been using it for 15 years without paying anything else additional, and we're going to keep upgrading it. So to me, it seems like an indication that they're really taking care of us, our installed user customer base. Now, time will tell if that's true, but that's my opinion on where things are right now.